And hello everyone. Welcome to the recipe box. I believe we are now live. Hello Shannon. She's got me in her pocket. She just arrived at her destination a bit ago, I guess, so she's getting all unloaded. We had a bit of a change in schedule today. We had Jen from Live, Laugh, and Love with Jen. I believe that's the name of her channel. Anyway, she was supposed to be our guest today and go over some heart health things, but she has came down sick. It's not heart related, but she's having some sickness right now, so we're going to reschedule her. But Bobby, the nutrition coach that was going to do a 3-part series, has graciously accepted the offer to do a 4-part series, so she's going to be with us for the next 4 weeks. Hello, Tina. How are you? So glad you could make it in today. I'm hoping you're having a great day. And we have a great night planned tonight on the Let's Grow Together. It is Super Grow Thursday. It's going to be a 2-hour program from 5 to 7 Central Standard Time. Doing giveaways. We've got like 4 different guests. Going to be featuring several channels. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope everybody can make that. And on my diet, I started last Tuesday. From Tuesday to Tuesday, I lost 4.4 pounds. So I'm excited about that. And yes, looking forward to seeing what else I'm going to lose this week. Hopefully I lose and don't gain. But I've been cutting back on soda, which has actually been easier than I thought it would. But I also have a new friend, iced coffee. So I'm bound and determined that Shannon's going to taste it. Yeah, I have to work on Tina too. So I got to get them one over. Anyway, it is one of my favorite drinks. And I'm trying to change my eating habits. And stay away from a lot of sweets. Make healthier choices. I want this time that I'm trying to lose weight to not just be about a diet. I want it to be a change in my life, a lifestyle change. But Tina is at the doctor's office, so she will be in and out. Okay, Tina. Want to say again, I see we have a couple more people showing up. Welcome. And I hope you enjoy today's live. We have Bobby. She is a nutrition coach. Her channel is called Supper at the Family Table. And she's got some great content. I can't even talk today. Anyway, you can see a lot of her healthy cooking over on her channel. She does a lot of healthy type recipes. So give her channel a visit. And she will be popping on here in just a few minutes. But anyway, yeah, this weight's got to go. So that's the plan. My long-term goal is to lose 160 pounds. So By the 4 pounds I lost, I have 155.6 left, I believe. So it's going to take a little bit, but I am excited to try to get there. And I'm going to be trying to change things uh, in my lifestyle every week and trying to do something different and add in new things, maybe try something new, try a different exercise, try to add something in here and there, and just kind of build up to where I'm accomplishing more and maybe getting more fit and more healthy instead of flabby. But anyway, Bobby will be on shortly, and so yeah, if we've got anybody that's not said hello in the chat, come on and say hello. We would love to know who's out there. We'd love to talk and say hello back. What is your opinion too? I know Shannon's busy and Tina's in and out, so but anybody else that's out there, um, what is your opinion on the best way to lose weight? Is it low carb? Is it keto? Uh, is it a lifestyle change? Is it low calorie? What is it? Thanks, David. That's the plan. And Bobby is on. I see her lurking in the shadows. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her up. And we're going to get started. Hello, Bobby.
Hi. Thank you
How
so
are
much for
you? Thanks for
having me
coming
today.
on. It was kind of last minute. I didn't give you much time.
That's okay. We made it work.
So how have you been doing? Can you hear me?
Yes. No, I
Okay. How have you been doing?
can. I'm sorry. Internet.
How have you been doing? You been doing okay?
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
I'm
can
not
hear
sure
you.
what's wrong with my internet.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Cutting in and out. I'm sorry. It might be my internet. Yes. Now I can.
Okay. I just asked how have you been doing?
Good.
That's good. Um, yes, David, that's a good point. Try to eliminate processed foods. Eat more veggies. Veggies is a challenge for
Yep.
me. I'm not a veggie head, so it's just not easy for me to eat a
The
lot
same
of
thing.
vegetables.
If you like fruit.
And you keep
So,
freezing up.
yeah, fruit has a lot of. Okay. Let me try to go somewhere else. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Hang on just a second. I'll try not to make y'all sick while I'm walking. Hang on. There we go.
Fruits are good, David. We are waiting on Bobby to get set somewhere else. There she is.
Okay, let's try that again. Let's see if here is any better.
I do like some berries. And I was just telling them I started my diet last Tuesday, not this week, but last week. And I lost 4.4 pounds. So in a week's time. My long term goal
That's great.
is 160. So that was a little bit like dipping the teaspoon out of the ocean, but you know. Anyway, it's a start.
You can do it.
That's the plan. So anyway, I'm gonna turn it over to Bobby and let her get started and do whatever she likes.
Okay, so yeah, for those of y'all that are new or don't know me, I am Bobby. I have a channel called Seven Family Table, and I try to eat pretty healthy, but we still follow the 80-20 rule. Try to follow a lot of whole foods, like David said, not a lot of from scratch as much as possible, but we don't really cut out um, anything completely. So yeah, to make things healthier. So um, it's all about starting small and making small changes. So making small goals. Sorry, can you hear me? Because I think my screen is frozen.
Yeah, you keep going in and out and freezing.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on.
You're good. We had internet trouble here the other day. I actually have never got it fixed. And somebody else was having internet, so I
For
don't know
next week,
what the
I
deal.
don't know what's going on. Um, but well, if you get to where you can't hear me, let me. But making small goals. So a lot of times people make these huge goals and it just seems completely like you can't reach it. You can't attain that goal because you're trying to cut out everything. So you're trying to, if you're going to be super strict and say you can't eat any sweets or you can't eat any fat or you can't eat any carbs or whatever it is that you're trying to want to stick with it, you're going to fall off. You're going to get off track, and then usually people don't get back. So small changes can really go a long difference in just implementing little small changes every day in the things that you do and the things that you eat most of. So a lot of go ahead and try to make that healthier with a few swaps. So if that's pot per se, try to switch it out. Try to cut back. Let's try to cut back to maybe one a day, and then slowly start transitioning to a healthier option like the olive. I've never had those, but they're supposed to be better. Or kombucha, like I said before on here, is really good.
Do you want to try to reboot your
It
system?
gives that kind of carbonated, fruity type of feel.
Do you want to try to reboot your system? Let me send you another link.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. Okay, I'll send you another link. She is having a little bit of technical difficulty, and while we are sending her another link, hello, Ginger Ninja, and I hope you're having a great day. Thanks for coming in. And no high fructose corn syrup. That is a good point too, David. I did try to get some sugar-free fruit cups the other day, so I've got some of those in there that I have started eating on. Um, but anyway, Ginger, what is your favorite go-to healthy eating plan? Is it low carb, keto, if you have one? Uh, Keto, high calorie? I mean, low calorie. Excuse me. You don't want to eat high calorie. What would be your favorite go-to? There's so many different ones out there, and I'm going for a lifestyle change. That's kind of what we've been talking about, and so we're gonna see how that works out this time. I'm gonna have to do something. I'm 45, I'm getting old, and I know my metabolism is not much anyway, and it's the older you get, the more it's just gonna bottom out. So Seafood, if I see it and I want it, she eats it. Yeah, on a seafood diet, I'm like that too. Yes. She's trying to force herself to eat healthier, to grow more, so she can make it more available for her. That's a good idea. Bobby is back. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Where did you lose me at?
Uh, good question.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Good question. I think you said something about soda. Did you say something about soda?
Yes, I did. Okay, so I'll try to start back there, but just kind of recap. Trying to start with small changes is usually how it's more about a lifestyle and not just cutting everything out and restricting everything at once and starting a strict diet. So, for example, cutting out or start with what you're eating or drinking the most of. What is a big like pitfall for you? So if you drink a lot of pop, try maybe cutting back. If you don't want to try to cut it out completely all at once, try to cut back to maybe one. Like one a day or something, or once or twice a week, and then slowly transition out of that completely and try like the Ollie Pop. I think that I've had those are like a cleaner version of a carbonated pop type of drink. I've heard Zebia is good, though I haven't had those. Or like kombucha, which is like fermented tea, but it kind of gives you that carbonated feel, even though it's not really carbonated, but it gives you kind of that feel and that kind of fruitiness when you want something a little different. Or if you eat, if you need to lower your fat and you eat like a lot of meat, maybe try switching it to ground turkey, switching to grass fed beef. Grass fed beef is a lot better for cholesterol if you can find it and if you can possibly get it. It's better for cholesterol, but it's still going to taste like beef. So even if you don't like turkey, maybe you can't completely make the swap from beef to turkey because you don't like turkey. Eventually you can get there, but start slowly. Start by doing grass-fed ground beef, which is going to be a lot better for your cholesterol, and doing lower fat. So 90, like there's 95s or 93.7 or whatever all the different fat contents are out there. If you eat a lot of pasta and you need to cut back on your carbs, maybe you're diabetic or whatever the case may be, try switching to alternative pastas, and maybe don't go all the way from like a regular white flour pasta to a chickpea pasta, because chickpea pasta really does not taste the same. I'll be honest, I don't even really like it. But maybe try to switch to a brown rice pasta. So your brown rice pasta is still a carb, it's still a starch, but it's a more complex carb than your regular white pasta. It's going to digest slower and not going to cause blood sugar spikes like a regular white pasta would. Or even for that matter, just switching it to like a whole wheat pasta will also kind of slow that down. So in the white pasta, all of the nutrients are stripped and you just are left with the white starch. And if you get the whole wheat, you're still going to have the nutrients, you're going to have the whole grains, and it's also going to not spike your blood sugar like a white pasta would.
Right.
And you can learn, like, you eventually you will start to like it if you just kind of keep incorporating things, and you can get to where they taste good to you and you enjoy them. So yeah, start slow and start with small goals, like I said. So if that's drinking more water, even if you're still drinking some pop or you're drinking some other things, try to add more and more water in. That can be like a daily goal, to add more water. That's going to help so many things across the board, whether it's weight loss, health issues, mental health, all kinds of things. um, Another small change would be to just try to eat more fruits and veggies. So and you said you don't like a lot of veggies, and that's okay. Try, maybe incorporating them into a smoothie. You can throw spinach into a smoothie and completely hide it. You never know it's there. Trust me, like, you don't taste it. It gets a lot of your daily nutritional values all thrown in, a smoothie. There are recipes like sweet potato, or like you can use butternut squash or something like that in a muffin and get a lot of nutrients that way. Like a healthy muffin recipe. You can just try to add small and eat fruit with a lot of meals. So maybe you don't like vegetables, but try to eat fruit with like every meal, or at least 2 of your meals every day, and just kind of add that in slowly.
Right. Those are good tips. Hello, Linda. It is good to have Bobby on here. She will be here for the next for this week and the next 3 weeks, doing some nutrition coaching. Uh, Linda says she's a carbonation junkie. She's moving toward Pierre and H2O infused water. Winter says sodas are nice and she needs to get rid of it, but it is addicting. It is very addicting, especially Diet Coke and Diet Dr. Pepper. It's all about choices in life. Yeah, it is. Ginger says it's good to experiment different ways of making vegetables that you don't really like, because stuff that my parents and grandparents used to make tastes nothing like the way I make it.
Yeah, try, like, that's a really good tip. Try different ways, because a lot of people think they don't like Brussels sprouts. For example, this is just a common one that comes to mind. Like, they hate Brussels sprouts, but Brussels sprout, most people, probably their grandmas made boiled Brussels sprouts or like steamed Brussels sprouts. And if you like the vegetable, you're probably going to like it that way. But if you don't, try it roasted, because I did not like Brussels sprouts for the longest time, but now we roast them. So cut them in half, or even quarters if they're real big. Drizzle them with some oil, some salt, and pepper. Throw them in the oven and roast them at a high heat. They get really crispy and like they completely change. The texture is great, the flavor is great, and they're really good. And same thing with, you could do that with a lot of things. Maybe if you don't like broccoli steamed, you can roast it. Roasting a lot of things really does help, but just change the way that you prepare it and you might actually really like it. So
yes, that's a good point. I have added sweet potatoes, even though I chopped them small, and carrots into a beef stew.
yes, that's a good way too. Add them into soup.
I love soups and stews.
We eat a lot of soups. We love soups. And soups are great. You can throw a lot of nutrition in there. You can put beans in soup, greens in soup, whatever kind of vegetables you like, you can put it in there, and you really pack a punch of all your nutrients for the day in one dish.
Welcome in, Macy's. Glad it's good to see you. And anyway, add kale to soup, David says.
Yes, we add kale to a lot of things. There are a lot of soups, but zuppa toscana is one that has kale that's really good. Or like a veggie soup, we love to throw kale in there.
Use honey and maple syrup for sweeteners. I have maple syrup in things like oatmeal and different things like that. Nisi said kale soup sounds yummy. I don't guess I've ever had kale.
Oh. And another thing, if you don't like kale, another way to like get some kale in too goes along with how you prepare the foods, but kale chips are like amazing. If you don't like kale any other way, you'll probably like it in kale chips. You throw it on a sheet pan or like a cast iron skillet, drizzle it with olive oil, again, salt and pepper, and just get it really, really crispy. And it's like super crispy, crunchy, like delicious, flavorful chips, but it's kale, and it's so good. So yeah. And you don't have to make things complicated in preparing it to be good too. Sometimes just going back to the super simple ways of roasting it and just good quality ingredients and oil and salt and pepper go a long way.
And I know there's a lot of people that deal with high blood pressure. I have high blood pressure. Diabetes runs and low blood sugar both run on both sides of my family. My sister is actually on shots for diabetes, strokes, all kinds of things. So, really do need to do some changing up as far as sodium and sugars and
Yep. And another really big way that you can cut back on a lot of sugar and a lot of sodium, maybe you don't even have to so much watch it in your food. Do kind of watch it, but if you just cut out a lot of the processed foods and a lot of the pre-packaged things, you will be surprised how much sugar and sodium that you'll be cutting from your diet just by cutting out those things and then making a few changes elsewhere.
Linda says if you season kale with a spice or herb you like, you will like it. I may have to try that. I do know a while back I went gluten free, and it was so crazy the difference in how you feel just by leaving processed foods alone. It was insane. I didn't
Yeah.
stay on it, but the difference was amazing.
Yeah, it really is. You would be surprised. Just kind of going back to the way, looking back in history. I know you and I both like food history, but kind of going back to those ways. They didn't eat a lot of processed foods. They didn't have it. They ate your vegetables. They did eat carbs. They ate potatoes, but they ate meat, but they ate high quality meat that they raised or that their neighbor raised. Um, they ate flowers, but their flowers weren't processed like our flowers today are either. So just kind of going back to the as whole foods as possible, um, the more traditional ways of preparing things, and you can still have really yummy food.
So, do you guys do? I know some uh, bloggers that I've seen grind their own flour. They grind their own things like
Not
that.
yet. I would love to, but it's just not something we've really gotten into yet. I think it can be more economical, especially if you want to do a lot of whole wheat, which we do, and a lot of einkorn, because einkorn can get expensive pretty fast. But so yeah, grain meals are pretty expensive. They're not something I've invested in yet, like a good
It's
one of
not
wheat.
economical to start.
Yeah, no, it's not economical to start, but when you look at the price of the wheat that you're buying and then
Yeah,
grinding and factoring all that in, eventually it helps, but it's an investment in the beginning, which I
it
think is why I
is.
haven't started it yet
It
because
is.
grain mills are very pricey. So it's not something that we've done yet, but hopefully somewhere down the road, maybe we'll invest in one. But
Abundant Acres, some of my favorite people, Kenny and Angie. Hello, hello. Can't stay long, but had to jump on and see some lovely people. Thanks for coming in. They have a really great channel. They're hilarious. And you need to go back and watch their live where they done the Bean Boozled challenge. That was one of my faves.
I will have to check them out.
They have great stuff. They're great people. Um, I seen you had a video on a gluten-free cheddar biscuit.
Yes, that was a good recipe. So they're kind of similar to not exactly. They're not going to taste exactly like the Red Lobster, but a lot of the Red Lobster cheesy biscuits that everybody loves, um, those were really good. And that's another example too. I think that was in the video with the chicken pot pie soup, if I'm remembering correctly. And so that soup had potatoes in it. It had some carbs. It had some stuff, but you can still have your biscuit, and you can kind of cut back. So you had some carbs, but you didn't go overboard because you have you've you've used a biscuit recipe that doesn't have as many carbs. And also, not all carbs are bad. We eat a lot of carbs. Well, we eat carbs, but we also try to watch and do like, there are good carbs and bad carbs, of course. But by cutting back, if you do need to cut back on carbs, like some of our family do need to watch it closer, so we try to make meals that work for them as well. Um, but even if you don't have to watch your carbs very closely, a lot of times by doing a lower carb or gluten free recipe, you're also just going to be getting more nutrients into your diet. So, like for instance, that recipe was made with almond flour, which is, even if you're not really watching your carbs, much more nutrient dense than like a wheat flour, especially if you would be to use a white wheat, like a white stripped flour. A lot more nutrient dense. It's going to have good protein, good fat, good nutrients in there, even though you're still eating a biscuit.
Right. Shannon, that is understandable. Tell Roger we said hello. I'm so glad you made it safe. Hello, Hedgehog Homestead. They have a great channel as well. They have just moved into Tennessee and they are setting up a homestead from the ground up.
Wow.
Linda said it is about food and nutrition, what we expect our body to function on. Food can make you well, and food can make you sick. That's true. I know I am a big uh, Mexican food fan, and that is my favorite go-to food. And but there have been times if I eat a lot of flour tortillas and I start dibble dabbling in the chips and the salsa and all the cheeses. Bye, girl. I'll talk to you later. Um, I'll notice a difference in the way I feel about 30, 45 minutes after I've ate. I'll start feeling just, whoa. And it's all the carbs.
Yeah, and everybody is different too. So some people can eat higher carbs and be okay with it and it works for them, and some people are need lower carbs, and you just have to pay attention to how you feel and cutting back what makes you feel not so good and working on that, because everybody is different and there's not one diet or way of eating that works for everybody. So
Nisi's been cutting out foods that make her feel yucky, and she has naturally lost 15 pounds over a couple of months. She also has a great channel. She does some awesome crocheting things, and she was a guest on our Chatterbox gals, and she has
awesome. I'll have to check all these channels out.
an awesome story to tell. Um, One must go with whatever works for you, Linda said.
Yep. Go with what works for you and what makes you feel the best, and also what you can stick to. So what you maybe can stick to may not be exactly what would be the most ideal, but if you can stick to it, then it's the most ideal for you because you're going to see results from it. Whereas if you're doing something stricter that you can't maintain and that you can't keep up with, then you're not going to see results from just constantly starting it and then falling off, waiting forever, starting it and falling off again, to where it is if you went a little less strict and just kind of stuck with something that you can maintain over a long period of time.
Right. Amy says she does well on carbs, but the sugars, those make her crash.
Yep. Yeah, and a lot of there are a lot of good carbs that you can eat. A lot of vegetables have carbs in them, but they're still good for you. Whole wheat has carbs in it, but it's still good for you. Or most average people, if it bothers you, of course, cut it out. But the processed sugars are what get a lot of people too. And going even back into the food history and what they used to eat years ago as well, but they didn't always eat like the white sugar and the processed sugar that a lot of people eat today, but it was molasses, or you can do honey or maple syrup, those kind of things that are sugar. They're sweeteners, so you still want to watch them, but they're a lot less processed. They're how God intended them to be. They're created whole foods, and they haven't been messed with as much. If you buy the right ones, of course, haven't been messed with as much and aren't the processed white sugar that a lot of us see and eat today.
You bringing up molasses brings me to me and Bobby have a collaboration video that's going to be dropping this afternoon, and my video that I'm doing is brownies.
Oh.
Back then, they did not use chocolate.
Oh.
This recipe is molasses.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to try that. That sounds really good.
There was no cocoa anywhere in there. I was like, that is so weird. How do you?
That's really neat. I've never heard of it as a replacement for chocolate. It's actually in my recipe as well. I'm doing bread pudding, and a big sweetener in that time period for our collab would have been molasses, not white sugar. So it's a bread pudding made with molasses. So
Lisa said sugar is addictive for her, so she's fighting to switch to natural sugar rather than processed sugars. And that's one thing I was listening to say. Bobby has so many recipes where she makes so many desserts that doesn't use processed sugar. She's using a healthier version. And I'm telling you, y'all.
Yeah, and you don't have to cut out all sweets. You can still have sweets on occasions and stuff, but just make them a little bit healthier. So switch your sugar are a big thing. So just use a less processed sugar. Maybe switch out your flour and still make a lot of your favorite foods. So
y'all need to check her channel out. It is packed with some awesome recipes and awesome options. Supper at the family table, so you won't be disappointed. Gluten protein causes me issues in my gut, and I get brain fog, so I have to be careful how much I eat.
Yep. A lot of people notice that with gluten. And another thing you can do, if you're celiac, of course, you can't have any gluten at all. But if it's just you find that gluten, you're kind of intolerant to it and it kind of gives you some problems, try fermenting. So try sourdough. Try starting your own sourdough, or buying some good sourdough bread. a lot of times the fermentation of the sourdough will it kind of breaks down that gluten and helps it to be easier to digest, which is another thing going back to the food history part of it, that back then they didn't use, commercial yeast. They didn't have commercial yeast to use, and so they used the sourdough method, and it fermented, and it would, help those grains be easier to digest. Um, and soaking is another way too. If you don't want to do sourdough, there are a lot of soaked recipes where you can soak your grains and you'll let it sit overnight and soak it and then finish your recipe and make your baked good or your bread or whatever. And it kind of does the same benefits of breaking it down and making it easier to digest.
Linda brings out a good point. It's important to love yourself how you are now. Then you will want to take better care of yourself. That is
Yes.
a hard thing to do when you're my size. It's hard to love yourself the way you are. It takes a lot of effort. Um, Abundant Acres did just put out a video. They done their own syrup, and David Grace, that you can use. Hope I'm saying it right. Carob. Did I say that right? Carob.
I'm not sure what that is. I think I've heard of it, but I can't really remember.
Uh, Linda says I don't like chocolate, so the molasses sounds great. I will drop that link right now. I am going to put her link in the chat. I don't have a mod in right now. So this is Bobby's link. You can check out her channel. And should be posting shortly. Give her channel a visit. Thank you, David. That's very nice. Nisi says I only like dark chocolate. Okay, dark chocolate is my weakness. The darker, the better.
I love dark chocolate, and hey, that's a good thing because the darker the chocolate, the better it is for you. It has less sugar
Yes.
in it, and it has more antioxidants in there. So
Yeah, sourdough bread is good, David said. Nisi's never had it. She's going to try it. I don't know that I've really had a lot of it either. Who are you talking about, Nisi? About what state do we live in? Or they live in? Angie's wanting to change from refined flour, but everyone has different opinions. What's the closest to regular flour that's better for us?
okay, if you're wanting to still stick with a wheat flour, that's probably going to be the closest you can get. When you start getting into the gluten-free baking, you can get ones and get recipes that can very closely resemble, and a lot of people don't even know, but it is a little bit harder. You have to work at it. You have to get the measurements right. But if you will just get like a white wheat flour, white being the key. So regular whole wheat flour, really good, good for you. But white whole wheat flour still has all the same nutritional benefits, everything. It's just a type of wheat, and it will make a lot lighter and fluffier baked goods. So you won't even, it's a lot easier to make the transition because it tastes a lot similar or a lot like just a regular refined flour. So it can be kind of hard to find sometimes. Well, maybe depending on where you live. It's kind of hard for me to get my hands on, but if you can find it or order it, it'll make the transition a lot easier.
I'm not sure who Nisi was talking about, where they're from. So I'm going to answer on my part. I'm from Arkansas. I am a southern Arkansas girl. Where are you from, Bobby? I forgot.
I am from West Virginia, the southern part of West Virginia. So,
Linda said the fermentation of foods provides prebiotics and probiotics. It helps in digestion issues.
yeah, the prebiotics and probiotics definitely help your gut and keep a healthy gut and the good bacteria, because a lot of times a lot of things we eat and do to our bodies, a lot of times we have not enough good bacteria and too much bad bacteria. So eating lots of foods that have probiotics and prebiotics, lots of fermented food, sauerkraut, lacto-fermented food. You can ferment like almost anything. So like we've done carrots before, and we just cut them up and like lacto-fermented them in the fridge. All kinds of things. Eating lots of fermented food, really good for your gut.
We need good bacteria.
Yeah.
I don't understand all that, so.
Yes, we do need good bacteria. So making sure you're eating plenty or taking a really good quality probiotic is a really good idea.
Well, you just have. I'm just looking through. Ginger Ninja has to go, but it was nice chatting and listening to good advice. Thanks so much. Blessings to you all. We appreciate you coming in. Everybody make sure you check out Ginger's channel.
Thanks for watching.
Got great stuff. Angie just tried fermented radishes last year. Used the ones that were too hot. Really mellowed the heat out with a good flavor.
That's a good idea. I'm not really a radish person, but Dad loves radishes, so he might like them pickled. That might be something to try.
I don't think I've ever had one.
They're kind of like spicy, like she said, hot. They have a little bit of a bite to them, but yeah, a lot of people like eat them on salads, like raw and stuff. That's how Dad likes them, but I'm not so much into it. And that's okay. We don't have to eat, every vegetable under the sun, but eat a lot of the vegetables that you do like.
So I see a recipe on here for healthier peanut butter balls. Do you use the peanut butter powder?
That recipe, I don't think I used the peanut butter powder in that recipe. It was just the natural peanut butter that we had. But you can totally use the peanut butter powder, because I use that in so many things. Especially if I don't have my natural peanut butter on hand. I'm not sure if it's been in any YouTube. Yeah, it's been in YouTube videos. I've used it in tons of recipes, but I don't always say if that's what it is. I'll just say peanut butter because a lot of people don't have the peanut butter powder. But I'll just mix it up to the consistency of regular peanut butter and use it in almost any recipe.
The PB2, I think it is. It is so good. I love putting it.
It really is good. Doesn't have any sugar in it. Doesn't have any oils. It's just like ground peanut butter. It's really good. So yeah, I use it a lot.
Ginger said she subbed to you, and she's looking forward.
Oh, thank you. I'll be checking out your channel too.
Nisi said she hears roasting radishes is really tasty.
I have just recently heard that, actually. I think I saw that somewhere on Instagram. And I heard that was really good, so I might like them that way. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Angie said toss those puppies in a little olive oil and garlic powder and roast them. It changes the flavor.
I'll have to give that one a try. We don't usually keep too many radishes in the house, but we'll have to pick some up and give that one a try.
Some flowers. I think I will stay away from the flowers. I've got so many allergies, it would be something I'm allergic to. Y'all probably hear my voice. This pollen is about to kill me. It ain't even in full pollen season. It's just like...
Yeah. I know. I woke up with a little bit of a hoarse voice this morning, but thankfully it worked out before today.
Mm-hmm. My husband's like, we just need to move to Alaska. You would be fine over there.
Yeah. We are pretty surrounded by trees, so lots of pollen everywhere.
Yeah. Nasturtiums are good, David said. Linda said we're making her want radishes, and she doesn't care for them either. I wonder how they would be if they're spicy. Like I said, I've never tried them, so I don't know. I wonder how they would be sliced thin, salted, and dehydrated.
Ooh, I don't know. That would probably be like a really good crispy chip.
It would.
Like, that would be really good. I would think. If you like radishes. I don't know if I would like it because I'm not a huge radish person.
I need to try one and see if I like it.
Do you dehydrate a lot?
No. But
we used to do it more than we do now. But, yeah.
I used to have one. Everybody's getting into these freeze dryers now.
I know. I see so many people freeze drying things, which I think would be really nice because I really love like the freeze dried fruit, like the bananas and the strawberries and the apples and all that. But
I don't like the price.
they're so expensive. I know. Well, we don't really have anywhere to put one that is very big, and even the small ones are so expensive. It's kind of crazy.
I
So
seen over on Living Traditions Homestead, I believe is the name of their channel. I think they freeze dried cheese, and they put like different spices on it
yes,
and different one. It looks really good.
yeah. I see. We watch a lot of Large Family Love, and Tiffany will. She freeze dries like everything. So many things that I wouldn't even think of to freeze dry, but she does like peas, and she loves them as a snack. She said so. Um, they're freeze drying everything now. I don't know, but I'm sure it will be good. I would love to have it for like the snacky things, but yeah, they're expensive.
Niecy said she's gonna have to try that. Little man grew some beautiful big radishes last year, and she ate them all in her salad. My boys wouldn't eat them. Linda's like, she's not sure if radish chips is going to cut it. She don't know about that one. Breakfast radishes, they're a bit better in her opinion. Never let a radish go too long, or it gives them a bite. I won't eat them. Kenny will, but ew. I'm kind of getting the hint that they're not very popular. It's a few and far between people that like them.
Yeah.
Oh, mercy. But do you have your, do you know what you're going to talk about next week? You want to give us a sneak peek?
Next week. So next week we can talk about maybe some of the small. We talked about small changes, but we'll try to talk about maybe some more of the more in depth, some of the swaps and healthier swaps that you can do for a lot of common foods, and just ways to make a lot of your favorite dishes healthier.
Sounds awesome. White radishes are milder.
I have never had white radishes.
I didn't know white radishes exist. I just know of a radish.
They like different colors of everything, and some of them are different because like the colored carrots, I love the colored carrots. Like I love carrots anyway, just regular carrots are great, but like the purple carrots and the colored carrots, they're so much better. I
I'll
love
tell
them
you
so
what
much.
weirds me out is those purple potatoes.
Yes,
Can you imagine making mashed potatoes with a purple potato? That would just be weird.
I know that would be really crazy, but I love them though. Like we would get we don't usually get the bigger ones, but we'll get like the mixed bag of like the baby ones, and they're really good roasted, like roasted or something like that. They're great.
Niecy has wanted to try white radishes, but she'll have to grow them as they don't sell them here. Huh.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen them here either, but I don't really look for radishes very often.
Niecy, where are you from? I can't remember. I am not good with names, and I'm not good with locations. Um, but anyway, I was going to say something, and I totally went blank.
I hate
Montana.
it when that happens. I always do that.
Montana.
Tana, wow.
David's grandma used to grow them. Linda says the more colorful the veggies, the better, right?
Yeah, just eating a lot of different colors because not necessarily that one color is better than the other, but all your different colors of fruits and veggies are going to have different vitamins. So eating the rainbow is going to be a great way to get all the nutrients in that you need.
So, question.
Okay.
They say potatoes, corn is not a better vegetable to eat. Is that true?
Okay, well, yes and no. Um, in my opinion, they're still good to eat, but I think a lot of times they say that because they are more starchy. But potatoes get a bad rap. While they are starchy, they do actually have a lot of good nutrients in there, so you are still getting some nutrients. So if you don't have to watch your carbs if you're not a diabetic, eating them in moderation, just like anything else, is perfectly fine. And even if you are a diabetic, just you can still consume them. Just try to watch it more closely. But yeah, we eat a lot of potatoes. We eat a lot of corn. We grow a year's worth of corn and preserve it and have it in the freezer. We love it. We eat it all year long, and we eat a lot of potatoes. So don't shy away from them just because they're starchy. Just remember that they're starchy and kind of eat them as your starch, but they also contain good nutrients, and just watch them closer if you have to watch your carbs closer.
Linda says she is proudly a West Virginia gal also.
Yes, proud to be a West Virginian. I love it here.
Wow, I have never been to Virginia. We eat yams. They are lower in carbs and high in carotene.
Yep, yams or sweet potatoes. We love sweet potatoes. So sweet potatoes are another example of a starchy vegetable, but they contain like a lot of nutrients, like even more than a regular white potato. But they contain so many nutrients that unless you really have to be super strict about your carbs, I would never say to shy away from a sweet potato just because it's starchy, because it has lots of good stuff in there.
Wow. We have gotten some neat questions and comments in the chat today. Moderation. Most do not like to hear that word. Yes, moderation. And then some people go by portion control. And I guess they kind of figure they can eat what they want, but they're going to portion it out.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Kind of going back to like maybe if you're counting calories. So like for instance, if you're counting calories or even carbs for this matter, but you're eating like one bag of Doritos could be the same amount of calories as this fruit or vegetable or however whatever you're eating, as far as if you're weighing out the calories or counting your calories. But the Doritos are empty nutrition, then you're getting your other your fruit or your vegetable or whatever it is, or your meat with, it's going to be the same calories, but it's going to be more nutritious, and you're going to get much more out of those same calories.
It's going to be more filling, probably as well.
Yeah, and eating what's going to be more filling too. So you can eat, some foods are just not going to fill you up. They're not going to go with you very long. But so.
David says if you can grow your own veggies, they taste much better than what you get in stores.
Yeah, I agree. I love growing our own veggies, but yeah. If you can do that, do it. And you don't have to have a large space to do it either. I mean, we are blessed to have a nice garden, but you can start in pots. I mean, my great-grandpa, we always had the large garden, but as he got older, he started to grow more things in pots. And like peppers do really well in just like 5-gallon buckets. Tomatoes do really well in 5-gallon buckets. So those are some good things you can start growing even if you don't have a lot of space. Just get some like 5-gallon buckets or big pots. Tomatoes, peppers, all those kinds of things do really well in small areas. You can do kale and lettuce and like all the greens in pots, herbs in pots, lots of things you can do even if you just have small space.
Wow. David says he has a lot of...
Yeah. Container gardening is getting to be a really big thing.
As most know, I eat a lot when I do. When I am hungry, moderation is not part of my vocabulary. Choose better foods to eat a lot of. I am a night muncher.
Yeah.
Stay up and I'm on YouTube. And if I'm watching food stuff, I start thinking I'm hungry, even though I may not be.
Yes, I do the same thing. I watch all these food channels or cooking shows, and then I'm like, I'm hungry. I just want to eat something. So, totally feel you. So, totally feel you there. But yeah, Lynn makes a great point there. Of like a lot of people do that with dessert. So they'll say, I don't eat dessert every day, so I'm just gonna eat, this. I'm not gonna worry about it, and I'll just not eat it every day, and then I'll eat that. Not healthy dessert or whatever. But if you like dessert and you want to make those small, simple changes, you can eat them and enjoy the things that you like more often without having to restrict it as much if you just make some simple ingredients wise.
Somebody said, or I read something the other day, it said, take a cake and not cut it and eat it. And technically, you've had one piece of cake, I'm like, I don't think it works that way.
No.
Oh, Linda says she is a late supper girl.
Yeah, we are too. We eat a lot. We ate pretty late, a lot. But it's just kind of how we are. We live in the country. We have animals and a garden and everything. So especially in the summer, we try to get all the outside chores done and like all the animals, done and the gardening and everything done before we come in and eat supper. So I know a lot of people like to do it the other way around and like eat their supper and then go out and do their evening chores, but that's just how we
It
like to do it.
varies here. If my married kids come over for supper, or if I'm having company, we'll eat later. But a lot of times we tend to eat around 5. So,
Yeah, Tuesday. Tuesday is actually the earliest day that we ever eat. So I do Facebook Live like around 5. And so that's the earliest day we eat. We eat that way for all of you who watch that so that we can get on at a reasonable time. But, 6, 7, even 8, very, very normal for us.
yeah. Well, this month is going to be all about health and nutrition. And I've had some people's like, oh, we want more vintage cooking. I think we stopped in the 50s. We will probably pick that up next month in the 60s. My husband was ready to get into the 2000s. He was tired of the old stuff. Thanks for coming in, niece. You have a good day too. Um, he's like, when are we going to get to the 2000s? Yeah. And he said she really tries.
I know we had a. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
She said it really tries to needs to try to eat later, maybe keep the snacking down. And I lost Bobby. And here she is. She disappeared.
I hit the wrong button. I'm sorry. I was trying to read the comments and I accidentally hit the leave button.
Uh, Snacking later. I mean, eating later and keeping the snacking down. Yes.
Yeah. But we had some of those same reactions when I was working on recipes for the 1800s collab video that we're doing. And some people, a couple of our family members, like, when are we going to get back into the regular food? So.
Yeah. But, I mean, I'll probably carry it on up to 2000 and through the month of April. But after that, I'm not sure if I'm going to continue into the 2000s because it's really not vintage.
Right.
But there's some that really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed making some of the stuff was really bland, kind of. I guess back in the days where the depression, they had to just make do with what they had.
Right. I really enjoy it. We always did that. I was a homeschooler, and we always kind of did that as part of school too. So whatever part of history we were learning about, we learned about the food and made it. So I find it really fun. But I'm a history buff and foodie, so all those things combined.
History.
I love to learn about all that stuff. But yeah, some things are more bland because they, I guess, just had to make do with what they had. But yeah.
Yeah, I made one thing. It wasn't in the vintage deal, but one recipe I made, and nobody liked it but my husband.
Yeah, we made some things that are really good, and things that are more of a miss too. So we made a long time ago. This wasn't for a video, but
thanks for coming in, Angie.
Thanks for watching. It's actually something we actually make kind of on a regular basis now, but our soda bread, and that's a really good kind of vintage bread recipe that my whole family loves. But then the other day when I was preparing for this 1800s collab and trying out different recipes, I made some soda biscuits, is what they were called, and they were just biscuits, kind of made with baking soda, but they would have been okay, but they tasted like soda. Like, I don't know if you ever make a lot of homemade breads with baking soda, but if you add too much, you can taste it, and it's not great. And those were kind of like that. It was like they were okay, they were edible. Like if you were starving, you could eat them, but you could definitely taste that soda flavor.
Cooking was more simple and basic when we were growing up. Raised and grew most of what we ate. It was healthier.
Yep.
I in reading, I can't remember what decade it was, but in reading They did not have a lot of the spices. I mean, they just had basically just. Now there's a whole wide.
Yeah, there's like every
You know,
spice under the sun. Yeah,
it
but
is. And my daughter will get in there, Mom. I'll be looking because I love to look at the spice section. Mom, you don't need anything else. You've got so many spices.
yes.
But anyway, it's been awesome having you on, and I'm
Thank you
looking
so much. It
forward.
was so fun. I'm sorry about the internet connection
Oh, that's
issues. I'll try to make sure it works better
we've
next
had
week.
internet problems for a lot of channels all week. I don't know if it's just something going around with the
Yeah,
internet.
it's
Why it's
crazy,
been
but
crazy. I like to have never got my Chatterbox live on Tuesday. It was bad. Um, should I use salt and pepper mostly? Yeah.
yep.
But I'm looking forward to the rest of the month. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And
Yes, I'm really excited. I think it's gonna be great.
every Thursday at 11 Central, 11 a.m. Central. And y'all make sure you check out the Let's Grow Together tonight from 5 to 7 Central here on Southern Roots. And Supper at the Family Table will be one of the featured channels tonight. And y'all make sure you show her channel some love. She's got some great stuff. And we will see you next week. Thanks for coming in.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for watching, y'all.
And we will see you guys later. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.
Bye.
Bye bye.